Welcome everybody to the Beatles Talk Show. Today's February 1st. Here's some Beatles historic facts throughout the years. It was on this date in 1949 that RCA released the very first 45 RPM record. And of course this would become the standard, most popular format for the single for the next few decades. And of course the Beatles would break sales records in the 1960s with all their singles released on 45. Also, on this date in 1962, the Beatles played the Thistle Cafe in West Kirkby, England, and this was the first booking they had done with their new manager, Brian Epstein. And on this date in 1963, the Beatles were preparing for their first British tour, and there were 3 concert promoters who contacted Brian Epstein, all hoping to be the promoter that would present the Beatles shows to seaside resorts during the summer. On this date in 1964, With the Beatles was number 1 for the 9th week in the UK, and I Want to Hold Your Hand was now number 1 for 3 weeks in the United States. And the Beatles and Brian Epstein had a celebration dinner at the George V, the hotel in Paris, upon hearing that I Want to Hold Your Hand had officially reached number 1 in the United States, where it would become the biggest song of the year, in fact. On this date in 1965, Brian Epstein announced upcoming plans for Cilla Black, that she will make appearances on Sunday night at the London Palladium and is booked into the Persian Room at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. And did you know that in 1967, on this date, the Beatles began recording sessions for the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album, laying down the rhythm tracks for the title cut? And on this date in 1968, John Lennon shipped his psychedelic Rolls-Royce car to the United States, the same day that the BBC TV rehearsal rooms were being held in London, where Ringo Starr appeared and rehearsed for his appearance on the Cilla Black TV show called Cilla. On this date in 1972, Paul McCartney and Wings released the single Give Ireland Back to the Irish in the UK. It would land up going on to be banned and be one of his least successful singles. And sadly, on this day in 1986, Dick James, the Beatles' music publisher throughout their entire career, died in London at the age of 58. And on the same date in 1988, Brian Epstein's brother, Clive, died in Austria.
So my dear friends, come back when you